Welcome to East Tennessee Pinball. Today I'm working on this black belt. This is a rare bird. I picked this up at the last auction. When I brought it home, I made a video showing this thing when I first put it together. But basically, so this is a power supply board, and it's a modern replacement of swimmer. But when the board's in there, if you just like push around on the board, it will boot, and then you let go and it loses a boot. So something is not quite making good contact here and here. I don't think it's the cables, but it might be. So I just pulled this board out of here. And one thing I noticed is that cap is pretty domed. I don't know if you can see that pretty well, but so that cap may be a problem. It doesn't. This thing's so new, I wouldn't expect to see cold solder joints. I'm gonna pull over the bench, get my glasses on, see what I can see. I probed around this board. I didn't really see anything too funny, but this big hump on here, it's like, this one's flat. Flat as a pancake. And that one, you see that big bulge on there? It just doesn't look right. So I am going to swap it out, because this is the, I'll show you right here. So that's that C1 that regulates basically the 9 volts that's coming in, and that's a little bottle cap transistor or regulator that's 5 volts coming out. So it's smoothing that 9 volts coming in. So if it's not working, you might not be getting the 9 volts coming in that this thing needs. So I'm gonna swap it and see what that does. And once I get it out of there, I can test it too. Okay, I've got this thing. Yeah, put the negative in there. Let's see what we get. 9.5, and it's supposed to be 12,012. So it's probably okay. A lot of times I'll be plus or minus quite a bit. I'm gonna swap it out either way. I don't really know that that's a smoking gun. Could be that LM323. It was reading a little bit weird with that in there. I was thinking maybe I'd test it when it's out. So I'm gonna do that right now. Yeah, 0.12. So that's kind of okay. So that looks right. Okay, 0.5, 0.6. So that's kind of normal. I don't think I was reading that with this cap in there. So I'm gonna put in a new cap and we'll see. All right, so I got the new cap soldered in there. I will say this swimmer board is like, that was basically the same as soldering and desoldering and soldering on like an originally Bally board. The traces were nice and heavy and robust. Probably the best best remanufactured board or at least for power supply, I've seen. So it's, yeah, kind of goofy. So maybe we haven't done anything. I'm gonna throw this back in the game. When I first did this, I thought maybe when I was pushing on the board, I was grounding it, but the edges of this board, there's no ground anywhere near it. So this board has no ground from the screws at all. I was thinking it did, but it does not. So all the grounds come from the connectors. And you know, all these, I mean, they look perfectly fresh. So, I mean, it could be the connector in the game, but they look good. So I'm gonna throw this back in there and see if I've accomplished anything. I mean, I wiggled all the fuses, look firm. that was the only oddball, so maybe that was it. All right, we got it back at the game. We'll do a little smoke test. Hopefully it boots up. Oh, it's got the ball stuck right there, but it did boot. Okay, so I extracted that ball that was stuck in there. That's another error. And it wasn't doing that when I first got it to boot up. It was going in there and it would kick that every time you start the game, you plunge it up here and it comes down there and then it kicks. Yeah, that switch is closed. Let me adjust that switch. Well, it's been about 30 minutes for me dinking around. I finally got it to boot. Oh, and nope. Did it unboot, or was that was just the text rolling? Yeah. So this connector here has an issue. If I wiggle this and see that F fuse 4 8A. It's nice there's a LED there, but boop. I'll be careful. So one thing, I'm missing an offset back here. And because this has got foil, if I press this too far, the back of this board will short out on the back of this. I've heard it do that a couple of times. I've done that. So I need to get an offset. I've got one here, but I don't have a screw in there. But this one does not have an offset. So if you push, you touch the back of the board to this foil, and that's no bueno. So anyway, I've got a week. I think I've got a weak signal coming in here, or if we get out. Anyway, doesn't have the power. It'll kick it a few times and then it gets weak. The coils are really weak. I'm not sure what the problem is, but I think it's the power coming in, or it could be coming out. I don't know. Could be something that's sucking it down. But even right now, there's nothing drawing on it, and that light's not very well lit. So I'm thinking I've got just a bad connection right here. So anyway, I can run for the now. So I'll work on this another time. So I've been mucking around with this board trying to figure out what is the weak point. I was thinking it was this fitting, because this connector, if I squeeze down, you see that I can on, off, on, off, on, off. I can make that light up, but I can also, just by pressing on that fuse a little bit, and that fuse is in there, I can't even spin it. But I'm thinking maybe the fuse has got a little hairline crack. So I'm gonna swap the fuse out, see if that does anything for us. Well, I thought it was in there tight. When I pulled it out, I realized the top one was not tight. So now even now, I think that top one's been splayed too many times. Well, just pushing it in there, I just got through pushing it down, closed. I may have to just swap that out. So I just squeezed it together, and just in the process of putting. It's better, but it's not right. I'm gonna see if it's, yeah, made some progress. Yeah, so that was it. Just a bad fuse holder. I'm still not convinced that's good. It's not the solder joint. It's just, if anything, it's just the legs have been sprung too many times. But anyway, so we're booted up now. Still no sound. I did a little bit of reading. This soundboard should have, there's LED. It should blink 3 times. So let me turn it off, turn it on again, and see what happens. 1, 2. Didn't get our third one. That means something. There's a third one. That seemed like a long time to wait. I wonder if that was a third one or a second first one. Let me do that again. I'd think that's the second first one. And we ought to be able to press this and get some. Oh, I got 1, 2, 3. Got 2, 2. So I'm getting 2. Yeah. So in the Pin Wiki guide, there is a diagnosis for if you only get 2. And then a 3rd. Wow, that was a really long time. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's all 3. I don't know. Maybe I just need to mess with that volume knob there. I'm assuming it's a volume. That's all it was. Huh. Crusty rheostat right there. Well, I'll take the easy one fix. I'll take it every time. So the 3 lights are 1, 2, and then wait 10 seconds, and then the 3rd one. Okay. So we got most things going now. That looks like that's supposed to, oh, there's supposed to be a screw right there. Yeah. It's a very inviting shot, right? He looks like he needs it. Look at the guy. Doesn't he look like he needs it? Yeah. All right, well, again, I've got to run. I got a game in the back of the truck, and I'm heading out here in a second. So I just had a few minutes, so I thought I'd work on this a little bit. But I made progress. I got it to boot, and I got sound. Major progress in like 5 or 10 minutes. Good. Well, I've got another 30-minute window of time, so I figured I'd recap this soundboard. Doesn't look like there's 1 there. 2, 3, 4. I think that's it. Not many caps. Electrolytic anyway. So I'm gonna swap these out real quick and yeah, check out the header pins. They're probably okay. I can get it to focus. Yeah, they look pretty decent. Yeah, they look pretty good. I put on my glasses. That one, maybe. No, with my glasses on, I can see better, and yeah, all the header pins are fine. So I'm just going to recap this real quick. All right, I got it recapped, so I'm going to throw it back in the game, see if it still works. Hopefully, it's louder. A lot of times when I recap these things, the volume gets cranked up, like it's as if I've turned up the volume, and I have not adjusted the volume knob, so we'll see. All right, smoke test of the soundboard. That's blinking. 1. Maybe I missed the first 2. I don't know. Let's see if it'll start a game. May not have any credits on it. Geez, this one's hard to reach. I'm gonna have to get a little screwdriver so I can reach the switch. Okay, I got some credits on there. Well, I don't know if it's any louder or not. I'd say the tone's a little bit better. The bass is a little more full. Doesn't sound so tinny. Anyway, well, that's good. So I got that going for me. So I've been playing around with this a little bit further. I've found a couple of other weird things. If I knock that drop target down, then this kicker fires continuously. And I had that firing continuously earlier, and I probably because that got knocked down. So I believe I'm probably following somebody else that was trying to work on this. Like almost every cap on every switch has been cut. So they're basically just trying to eliminate, I can show you like all these. So those little caps there, see they're all free-ended. Every single one up in the whole game. So I don't think it's the caps, because it's like they're all, usually when the cap's short, it'll just make one closed. It won't actually give you some crazy nonsense like this. So I'm going to get the logic probe out. I'm looking at this board. It's pretty well labeled. And so it's got it says right there, Playfield switch matrix. So I wonder if that's got a pin. It does not. I guess that's labeled number 1 there, that little mark there. So anyway, I'm gonna get a logic probe and measure these pins and make sure they're all just like the other ones, like they're friendly neighbors. Well, I've pretty much convinced myself that there's nothing wrong with the board. So 15 through 12 on this one and 15 through 11 on this one are the sending signals. So these two sets of switches, they're almost in parallel. Some, like number 11 on this one isn't used and it is on this one, but I'll just let you listen. So there's 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. 11 sounds a little bit different, but maybe just because it's not in parallel. I don't think that's the problem though. It still sounds pretty decent. There's 10. These are the receives. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and that's it. Oh, there's 2, and 1's just high. And the same thing on this one here. So they all sound, 11's a little bit different, but I don't think it's different enough to be concerned about. I might eat my words on that one. So well, I guess we could see which one 11 is. So I guess I need to go to switch matrix. Okay, so here's the switch matrix. There's that 11. So it's strobe number 4. It's this column here. So the pop bumpers, the slingshots, and whatever the chop side is, right side, left side. I don't know. Oh, I don't have anything plugged in. Let me plug these in. Probably should turn the game off before you plug the stuff in, but I'm not going to. If I can get it on that first one. There we go. Pop bumpers are going. The slingshots are not going, but they are scoring, so I don't think it's a switch issue. Well, it could be that it's not seeing it as a slingshot, it's seeing it as something else. Here's one of the problems with this damn system, is it's got this thing to get in the menu, and I can't get this thing to work. Either the buttons are not working, or because the switch matrix is messed up, this thing is not working. So I don't know. I can't get into the menu, so I can't tell if I hit a switch what switch is actually happening. Like when I hit these slingshots, you know, I see them moving. I mean, I see the score going, but I don't know if when I'm hitting that switch, if it's registering that switch or if it's registering some other switch. Because there are, like, I know if I hit this one, it'll tilt the game. So there is that stuff going on. So that could be happening right here with the slingshots. I don't think so. That at least part of that row is working fine. So I don't know. I'm kind of under the impression at this point that it's not a board problem, it's a Playfield problem. And one other thing I kind of noticed, it's just like weird stuff. If I hit this switch here, I think it was this one. I don't know, one of the switches makes these strobes go in the back. When the strobes go, whoa. I don't know what I did, but it makes this kicker go weakly in conjunction with the strobes. So I think there's some shorting going on under the Playfield between maybe the lamp matrix and the switch matrix. I don't know. I just got to find it. Okay, well, I'm going to focus on one part of this at a time, maybe. Maybe that's not the right thing. But none of the drop targets are actually sensing. Now, some of them the middle ones on both sides, if you do it, then other stuff starts going off, but none of them score points. The return right, that automatically tilts the game, and the return left, again, something else starts clicking somewhere off on the plate. Actually, the drop target starts popping, like kind of halfway popping up when you hit the left return lane. So this whole column is goofy. Yeah, that's on strobe 5, which sounded completely normal. So I'm gonna focus on these switches under the playfield and see if I can see any of them are touching something. Well, I found something. I don't know if this is it, but that right there is touching the frame, and that right there is touching the frame. So you got bring those off. I don't know if that's going to do anything for us, but you know, it ain't going to hurt. Let's just check the other side real quick. I don't know if that one's touching, but it's pretty dang close. So is this one. Well, let's give it a shot. Okay, now before, if I hit one of these drop targets here, it would go crazy and do stupid stuff. Yeah, see, it's like that center target. And this drop target here, it does that one right there. Just nonsense. Huh, I think that one works. And none of the switches, whoops. I don't think any of the switches behind the drop targets work. Oh, wait. It just rebooted. Target light modal. I don't know what the heck that is. So touching some of those switches makes it reboot. It's great. I think I actually got into some kind of one of the menus from that should be getting me into, but I cannot apparently operate. So this one here, if I get where y'all can see it, these, at least the one I just hit, that one's working. You hear that pulse, and it's also scoring. Now, whether or not that switch that's actually the computer's hearing is what I'm pressing, I don't know. Like these, I can tell because you hit it in the lights. So I've been trying to like document which ones are actually working because there's so much that's messed up. I can't tell. Well, it's easier to, there's basically less things that are working than are not working. So I'm trying to rule out the things that are working. Just been building a map of the ones that are working. I'm going to translate that over to this and hopefully, I don't know, make some sense of it. Kind of focus my efforts under the playfield because there's like so much to look through. Here's the other problem with this working on this game is, if I can get to focus, is there's been so much work, like that diode there has been replaced and it's all over the place. So is that diode facing the right way? You know, who knows? Fair chance it's not. That could be the whole problem. This flipper switch is on one of the columns. It's all messed up. So, you know, it's a lot of work to go through. And by the way, the PinWiki guide says don't trust the wire colors in these 6803s because basically Bally was starving for money and they just used whatever the wire was laying around when they built them. So the colors may not mean a whole lot, but So I'm about ready to start cutting wires out of it and just start disconnecting switches until something gives. And I'm gonna then the remainder is gonna start working, and then I can kind of know, because I've been through this backwards and forwards and I don't see anything. It's probably, well, once I see it, it'll probably be obvious, but it might be something not so obvious, like a diode that's in there backwards. A lot of the games, actually, so this is striped. Seems like the striped are all on one side and the solid are on the other on these diodes. I can't remember which one. So this one, the striped, is on the banded side. I want to say it's opposite of the other ones. Well, if I can readily find one. Like that one there. That one, yeah, that's white with stripe, I think. Or maybe it's just a black smudge. I don't know. Here's one I can see pretty well. So the banded is on the, or the stripe is on the non-banded side. And see, that's the way all these wires appear. Well, they're not necessarily stripes and solids between the two different sides. There are stripes and solids on both sides, so that's not going to be work. So I'm going to have to get out the color guide and see what a 51 is, a 52, a 50, 511. I think those are color guides. Actually, that's what I could do. Okay, so the flipper switch. See, the game's just going crazy over here, just for no reason. Like it's probably one of the spinner or something is halfway down. And it's like causing this thing to go. It's just nonsense. So let's find that flipper switch. So this left return lane, if you hit it, it actually does the out hole. I said it was doing the drop targets. That's just because it was resetting for the next ball. The right return lane, it does a tilt. Flipper right. So that's the one. So the banded side should be on CJ43. The banded side should be on the orange. And we've got, yeah, red and blue down here. Great. Yeah, that's awesome. What the heck? Yeah, how do I fix that? Okay, let's try it the other way. So the other side of it is CJ415. That's a very far left, and it's white with red. And yeah, I don't have a white with red down there either. That could be white with, well, that's the left flipper. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm about ready to start snipping. I'm gonna have to get some Post-its or something, so every time I snip one, I can put a Post-it note so I can go back and fix them, because I'll leave one and I'll have to figure out which one I left. Well, I was just about ready to start disconnecting wires, and then I realized this bottom column here is CJ41, and that one's high all the time. I didn't think that was part of the switch matrix, but follow it up, and it's not pulsing. This is CJ3. I've got disconnected. It's the same, but it's just high. So, and if I disconnect the other ones, it's the same way. So, you know, it should be pulsing like those are. That one, number 2, is not used, but number 1 is. And you see this one here? I can get it right there. So I've got a problem with the board, and this board is all socketed. So if it's like one of those 74 SN74, I bet that's, or 74 HCT. I think it's this one. That's what I remember on some of these other boards. I'll have to get the schematics out and figure it out what feeds these suckers. So here's J41. It's got this JW9. It's a jumper wire, I'm assuming. I don't know. But it's not like so here's all the other ones. They're all this JW 109876, 543, you know. And then for whatever reason, this one's down here, and it's got this, I think that's a symbol for the 5 volts holding it up, and then I don't really understand. JW, I think that's a jumper wire, and maybe it's supposed to be on there, and it's not. I don't know. Not clear to me. And the fact that we got this aftermarket board doesn't make it any simpler. Yeah, see that symbol there? That's 5 volts DC. Instead of an up arrow, they just use that upward line. So that's, because right now it's just a solid high. But maybe if this was connected, it would pulse. Because that's a pull-up high. So it's 5 volts, but it's going through a big resistor. So it's high unless this thing is pulling it back down. So, and then this is pulling it down here with an even bigger resistor. So, but yeah, so it, maybe JW9 is not connected on that board. I'm going to pull the board, or at least just go look at it, see if I can find a JW9 and see if it's soldered in on the board. There's JW9, and it's open. I'm tempted to jumper it. I don't know. This is where I wish I had an original board. It's laying here. I could look at it and see if it's jumpered. Because these schematics are probably, a lot of times the manufacturers, they won't actually modify the schematics for each individual game. So just put in a 6803 schematics for all the games, and you know, good luck. But I'm thinking that's probably my problem, maybe. At least for part of it, is it's not pulsing. As drawn on those schematics, it's going to be high all the time. It's not going to be fun. I could pull this board out. But I think that's what I'm going to have to do. I just got home, and the dogs are like up my butt. But look what I found. Black belt. Jumpers. 2, 4, 6, 9, and 10. I don't know if 2, 4, 6 are right, or 10 are on that board, but 9 is definitely not jumped, and it's definitely supposed to be here. I'm reading this off PinWiki, so pretty reliable source. So I am definitely putting that jumper on there. So that board is, my guess is somebody that's trying to fix that game, put a new board in there, and never got it working, got frustrated, took it to auction. Django, get off of me. My gosh. The dogs are just on top of me. Django, you want to go to work? Let's go, come on. Oh, come on, let's go. You ready to go to work? Oh my God, he's ready to go fix some pinballs. All right, so I've made it to work, and Django's down there keeping an eye on things. So I've marked all the jumpers on this thing. I've got them little tags, because by the time I get to the last one, number 11, I can't find all the rest of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Some of them are populated, some are not. There's 7, and then there's 8, 9, 10, and 11. So on this game, black belt, it's supposed to be 2, 4, 6, 9, and 10. So basically they're all the same. All these games are the same, except, well, for the most part, yeah, 2, 4, 6, except 8 or 9 is populated. And on this board, it has 8 and not 9. So I need to cut out 8 and tie on 9. I think that's going to be absolutely necessary. So I'm going to do that, throw the game board back in there, and see where we're at. So that's 8. I'm pretty sure that's not a 6, because 6 is somewhere over here. Yeah, there's 6 there for sure. Okay, so that is for sure 8. I'm just going to snip it. And that's out. And I'm going to desolder, get that solder out of those holes, and then put a jumper. So it's the bottom of those groups of 4. I think it's those 2 right there. Yeah, there's nothing in those. Where is my solder sucker? Let me find it real quick. It's laying right in front of me. All right. Find a little wire to stick in there. I might even have a 0 ohm resistor. Let me see if I've got one. All right, I don't have a 0 ohm resistor, but I do have a little piece of wire. Sure, I cut it off a cap or something. A little too wide. Okay, the board's back in the game. See if it'll boot. Oh man, that flashing of that, I thought that something was like frying there. That fluorescent tube flashed a little bit. Okay, so we're booted. Still got credits. I don't know if I've got any balls in the game. Yeah, that's not good. Can't get that out of there. I know this switch wasn't working. Still not working. How about this? Okay, that's not going crazy over here like it was. Slingshots are still not working. But at least some of this nonsense. What's going on? Something's clicking. I can't tell what it is. Oh, this one's kind of a baby kick, so it's still some nonsense. Ugh. How about this? How about I end this game and let's get I still got the probe hooked up here. Let me see if I've got reasonable drop targets. Oh, those drop targets are all down. It does this when it first boots up. Any switches that are closed, it goes through the list a couple times. All right, so let's check and see what these switches sound like. Still, it's still wrong. And we don't have one on that one either. Let me undo the other side here, because I'm pretty positive these are all in parallel. Like the one is the same as the one. So that one's working, but that one's not. That could be, maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. Maybe that one's not tied to that one. So that switch about the last 6 or 7, I think the ones on the right are receive and the ones to the left are the send, or vice versa. So that one there, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. Some of the cabinet ones are not used. I think 11 is not used on the cabinet. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, I think 2 is. So the cabinet has some irregularities. 1 is high, 2 is not working, and 11 is not working. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. I'm gonna go to the schematics and look at those real quick. Okay, there's J4 is the one on the left, J3 is the one on the right. So J311 is not used, that's okay. So now I need to find the 1 and 2. Shoot. J3, there's J4. J3, 4, 2 is not used. 1, J3, 1 is lamp strobe. So it's got a different architecture from these other ones. So it's coming right off, whatever that, it's what's coming off that bus. So it's, I'd have to go back to chip. So it's from C, whatever that is, CB02. So it's different than the other ones. So the fact that it's high, maybe it's supposed to be high. I don't know. I think maybe it's a lamp output. If that's the case, it would just be high. I don't know. I'm not gonna worry about that. I don't think it's even part of the switches. So back to the game. So I'm booting it up again. I just manually put the drop targets up because they wouldn't come up by themselves. I'm gonna just walk around the playfield and start hitting some switches. Oh, nothing's gonna work because I have nothing plugged in. Okay. So like before, if I hit this, the game would tilt. And it didn't tilt. Wait, it kicked something. So this thing is like tick, 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 tick. So that's getting some phantom firings. And it's doing, a lot of switches are causing that to go to phantom fire. That was a real fire. You hear it kind of go da, 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 da. So it's like, so it's got some kind of feedback. I may check and see if that's got a diode on it. Maybe that's, because when that flasher goes, this thing kind of da, 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 da. Maybe it's, I don't know. Or maybe but anyway, that's better because that was tilting the game. This was going to the out hole. It's still doing that a little bit. So this is better. This should, yeah, it's doing the skill shot. This was not working at all. And it's still not working. Could be a switch issue. Those lamps are not working. They were working before. The switches are obviously triggering. Maybe I don't have all this. Am I missing a plug wire? Oh yeah, I've got a whole. Oh, geez, that's hot. Resistor's hot. I'm gonna turn the game off before I plug this one in. Yeah, I touched that little ceramic resistor down there. It's scalding hot. Bulb is like right in the way. I'll tell you what, it's kind of annoying anyway. I'm just gonna unplug it for a while. I really don't want to drop it. Oh geez, if I could just get this thing on there. Okay. Get this thing booted back up, hit some buttons. We've definitely made some progress with the switch matrix. Okay, gentle touch. Maybe this thing will work if you... No, that switch doesn't work. Okay, let's give the nut shot. Oh, yeah, that gives a real response from him. He does not like that very much. Okay. So that's scoring. Yeah, when those flash, I think it's the flashers are causing this to go da 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 da. Anytime those flashers go, this thing kind of triggers. Okay, let's try this one. That's good. Ooh. See this one here. This one here, this switch here should trigger that ball gate. And it does. And this one here should trigger that ball gate, and it does. See, if this switch was not working before. Oh, I got it to go that time, I think. That or either these timed out. Maybe these have a timer. Not sure. I heard that these things click back. So I haven't got back to the drop targets because those really mess things up apparently. Or they can't, they're not resetting really, is the problem. Oh, I got the switch under here. Yep, that's triggering, and that's, again, this, I think those flashers are doing this. That's about all my switches. Okay, I'm gonna do these. That scored. Scored. I'm gonna hit these. There's more switches behind it. Yeah, those were not going before. I'm gonna do two of these. Those both scored. So that's all that's working. None of that was working before. That scored. I think everything's working. This switch never worked. That switch doesn't work. That switch doesn't work. And I'm getting phantom kicks with this. So way big progress. I might be able to get into the, if this thing works, I should be able to get into the switch menu at this point. I don't know if this thing works. A lot of times these don't work, but I need to try to see if this works, because if it doesn't, I'm gonna buy a new one. They make reproduction ones. So I've got the Playfield up, so some of those strobes are going. So this one just like kind of continuously, well, now it's not gonna do it, is firing, and this one here is too. And what I've noticed, well, first of all, it's got a three lugs, like it's a flipper coil, and this one does too. I don't know if those are the wrong coils. Well, they're the wrong coils to a certain degree, but whether those are factory coils or because Dolly was out of money and they had these laying around. They figured, well, we'll just use 2 of them. But if you look at the way it's wired, so I haven't looked at the schematics, but almost always the double-ended one like this is the hot side, because that's the power that's getting daisy-chained to all of them. But if you look at the diodes, from there to there, the diode is correct. But on the other side, if I zoom in, they've got the banded on the other side. So the diode is wrong for the other side. Not that there's anything there, but it's so that the power can go through this way, through that other coil. You know, I don't know. I'm tempted to cut that diode off there and get rid of that, and or look at the manual and see what coil it's supposed to be. That one looks kind of old. It's been there a while. This one looks a little newer. I don't know. Most of them actually are yellow, but some of them, yeah, like some of these look pretty old. And this one is the same way. You can't see it, but there's 2 diodes, and one of them, the diode from here to here is correct. The diode from here to here is backwards. Well, I couldn't find the list of coils in the manual, but I did see, so the slingshots are not working. I did see that they're Q13 and 14, so I've got this jumper on ground, and that's Q13. I'm gonna see if it goes. So we've got maybe a problem with this board here, because apparently, see, it's sensing the switches. So the switches are getting to the MPU, and when I ground this, those fire. So somewhere on this board, it's not going from the switch to the transistor, which kind of sucks, because that's kind of complicated. That's on here. I think those are the only 2 drivers that are not working now. Well, these are not, because because the coils are wired up wrong. And I've got 2 more switches. This switch is not working, and this one, I bet, let's check on those 2 real quick. Let's see if those are on the same row or column. I bet they are. It might be hopefully it's just like something like a broken wire. Well, I got on my logic probe, and both these switches are strobing. So I'm thinking, what if this thing is like the absence of points and it doesn't make a sound, and it's like you're supposed to get up to it and not hit it, and that switch in the back is just telling the game that the ball went through there, but it's not giving you points. It's just like a logic thing. So I need to get into the switch mode so I can test switches. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to use this thing and try to get into the switch test. So I managed to get it in the switch test. So this one, it only like halfway works. You have to press enter to cycle through them, and the enter button doesn't really work. And when it does, sometimes it'll do 2 button presses, so you get past what you're trying to get to. Anyway, so hold that up, and it takes it a second for it to, oh, that one doesn't work. This one does. So that one's for sure working. This one, I'm going to pick the Playfield up and manually close it with a screwdriver and see if it's just a bad switch. Okay, when I manually press that with my finger, it works, so the switch is just dirty or rusty or whatever. So what's left? Slingshots, they will work. And I went through the solenoid test also. The slingshots work in the solenoid test. So I'm a little confused about this. So the game can tell it to signal itself. The game, right now in the switch test, left sling, so it knows that's the right thing, and I can press right sling, left sling, and right sling are working. If I go through the solenoid test, it'll command these 2 things to go. But when you hit the switch during the game, they don't fire. I don't understand that. Unless it's some kind of weird gameplay where these things have to get activated through play. Surely not. That would be pretty bizarre. It'd be kind of cool, but geez. I've never seen a game like that. And I got to figure out, do something with these coils. I haven't rewired those yet. I'd kind of like to talk to Steve about this game, about those three-lugged coils, if Bally did that, or if those were just added on. I'm guessing they were probably somebody just added them on. Anyway, I'm gonna monkey around with these slingshots, see if I can figure out what's going on with those. Okay, I got it booted up. Oh, need a ball. I saw it. The flashed when I hit that target. And that's back to flipping all the time. That's kicking. Maybe those are supposed to reset when you hit up in the nut shot. It's going nuts again. They're both going nuts. That one and this one. And that one too. So it's something with the whole solenoid voltage is going crazy. When those flashers go, everything else is going crazy. I wonder if they're the wrong flashers and it's pulling too much current. It's dropping the voltage down and causing, I don't know, craziness. I bet if I take the bulbs out, the problem goes away. I just don't know. I'm gonna have to sit and think about this one for a little bit. That's driving me crazy, and I still don't have the slingshots. I haven't really done any more about it, but it's really weird. The switches work, and solenoid tests work both. So that's everything. I mean, so they should fire. See, it's scoring. It's just not firing. Craziness. Unless, like I said, it's some kind of weird thing where these things get enabled. I don't think that's the case, though. So I just yanked out those 3 flashers, and there's 3 more back there. Played a game, and all the random little phantom pops of the solenoids went away. So these flashers that are in there are 9, it's hard to see on the phone, but they're 912s, GE 912, which I don't think those are right. I'm gonna look for sure, but they're the same form factor as like a 90s. This one I had in stock, a 906. And these only have 1 ohm resistance. The other ones, this has a 1.5. So they're pulling more current, a lot more. So maybe that's it. I'm gonna get on the computer here real quick and see what they're supposed to be. So I threw in some 906s with the higher resistance, and they still, it wasn't as bad, but this thing was still kind of barely twitching. I grabbed an LED. I didn't have very many of these, so I put one of those and 2 incandescent bulbs, and these are wired in series. So I hit the switch, only the one fires, because this apparently cuts the current voltage down so much that these 2 don't even burn. And the good news is nothing out of this dude here. So I'm gonna order some more LED flashers. I don't normally like using them because they're too bright, but this is under the plastic, and so it'll be okay. So there's some more that go up in here, and there's some more going here, and I guess I don't know. There's quite a number. I've pulled out, well, a couple of these are mine, but most of those all came out of the game, and there might be, I don't think there's any more in here. So anyway, I think that phantom deal, and it shouldn't do that, but I don't know, it could be that this board isn't quite right. It could be something else, but it is a kind of a power drain kind of a problem. I still don't have these going, and I don't know what to think about them. I'm gonna have to sleep on that one because these are throwing me for a loop. I don't even know how to attack these two. The switches work, solenoid tests work, both. That's kind of weird. I think I figured out my slingshot. Pin wiki to the rescue. Be advised, some 6003s, perhaps all, have a setting in basic settings to turn slingshots on or off during gameplay. If the slingshot switch is registered by scoring in gameplay or during a switch test, and the slingshot solenoids fire and test, but not in gameplay, you got to change that setting. So examine the setting 0, it goes off. So it's like, why isn't this working? And I was wondering if there was like, they came on halfway during the game, but there's a setting to turn them on. So I got to figure out exactly where that 0 or 1 setting is. Here it is, basic options. So if I can get to the basic options, not free play, I do probably want to put it on free play. There's slingshot right after that. So I want that slingshot to be on 1. I think I got it. Oh, I'm still in the testing. Shoot, I'm just going to reboot it. It's easier than monkeying with that thing that halfway works. I just ordered one of those. Big Daddy sells them. I normally get stuff from Weebly. He sells them, but he's out right at the moment. Like Big Daddy stuff too. Start up a game here. Yeah, my slingshots are working. All right, so the only thing left is just get all these flashers. I'm gonna order some more LED flashers and LED flashers, and I think this game will be 100% at that point. It'll still need to be cleaned up, yeah. This I mentioned I had another video where I talked about getting this game. And the fact that it was booted up, but you couldn't play it. They had the coin door locked, and there was no credits on it. And I said that's either just because they didn't know what they're doing, or they were being mischievous and basically hiding all the crap that was wrong with this. And I think it was the latter. This game had a lot of issues. It didn't take real long to figure out, but a lot of people would have, not to brag, but the average person would have really struggled, especially, that jumper on there, putting that jumper in and cutting that jumper off. I mean, not an obvious thing to get to. So I'm gonna do a play video of sorts here. Probably need to back up a little bit there so you get the whole, so you can see the flippers at least. And so everything's working with this. Flashers aren't going, and because all those caps when the switches are cut, when you hit these, well, see, like that one didn't do. If you press it slow, it will go. So those caps are real important because they basically extend the length of the digital signal that goes to the MPU. The MPU missed them without those caps, so I'm gonna have to put those caps back. I'm gonna play without them. The goal of this is to spell out these things here. Left leg, shoot those 3 targets. Right leg, those 3. Body, nut shots. Left side and right side. Left side is go through that ramp. The right side is this ramp, but it has to hit this switch and that switch. So it's going to go all the way around. A little half shot won't work. Once you do all those 5 shots, you get a yellow belt. When you get a yellow belt, that's 2 times Playfield multiplier, and that's for the rest of the game. You do it again 3 times, do it again 4 times, do it again. You're a black belt, and you're a 5 times Playfield multiplier. You're gonna blow this thing up. The drop targets do the multiplier for the bonus, and that's just for the game. You can collect the bonus at times, and this also here that'll be flashing, and it doesn't take the bonus away. You just collect it, and you collect it again when the ball drains. There's a spinner back there, get some points. Coming through here is 10K. That's the main thing. Skill shot, I figured out. So basically, there's no sensors until you hit that mushroom in the back. So when you hit this switch here, you're going to hit the mushroom at the last one to get the maximum points. If you hit it too late, it's gone. You get 0. See, I got nothing for that because I didn't hit the mushroom. Trying to get the net shot. Oh, not quite. And I drained. So I beat the heck out of all those leg shots, and a lot of those didn't count because this caps weren't there. Let's see if I can do it better on the skill shot. So I got the 4,000. Right in and out. That just did not stick. Oh, I'm not doing very well here. Oh, that's a horrible game. I'm gonna have to do this one more time. I didn't even get a single ramp. Okay, let's do it again. Yeah, we don't worry about the match. The targeted tranquility in the back. I think I'm out of credits. Ah! There we go. Oh, I hit the slam tilt when I shut the door. Ah, jeez. Now we got to reboot. Okay, here we go. We got 5 instead of 4. Jeez, I suck. Sometimes you can smack it right back. There we go. So I have done the left and right side now. So now it's just, okay, now I've done the body. Now all I need are the both legs. See, I collected my bonus, I think. Yeah. Didn't have much bonus, but I collected it. I'm going to go ahead and hit these because the ball is not going to do it very effectively. And I'll say I drained the ball doing that. So I got my 2 times Playfield multiplier, and that will stay lit for the next ball. And I got 0. Ah, jeez. So I still got quite a few points because I had the 2 times multiplier. Oh, and the last ball 3, the extra ball, that red light in the way in the back over there, that's extra ball. So if you do the super skill shot on here, you get an extra ball. Pretty hard. So what do I have left? See, I've beat the heck out of the legs already, and I've only got 1 shot because the switches are not, they don't work without the caps. Anyway, that's that. So pretty weird game, to be honest. I kind of like it. I wouldn't want this to be my only game I owned, but if Got a bunch of games. This is kind of a nice little side. It's unique too. The backwards flipper is pretty wild. Needs some tuning up. There's a kickoff there that like kicks it. It's just like, I don't know. It almost has to be like that. I think, let me show you what they've done. It's like a mandatory ball hop, because that has to be up so that the flipper can come up, but it just makes it a horrible ball hop. If that was straight, I think it would interfere with the flipper. But it is awful. Even there, it's touching. I may go look at some pictures if not some other ones. I may just snip that, and I hate, it's awful because it comes off there and for the ball hop. I may just take that off and trim it back a little bit and make it straight. I don't know, it drives me nuts. I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to be or not, but I hate it, hate it. I can't imagine that was on purpose. Maybe. Oh, here's a picture of it online. It doesn't even look like it has that little flap thing sticking off of there. I don't know if that's, it's weird. Maybe some operator put it on there to make it harder so you don't keep, because there is a potential up and back and forth. If you got good, you could just keep it up there. Yeah, that little flap is not even, that piece is not even on there. Actually, that is part of this big loop, so it's got to be on there. Maybe it's just straight in the picture. Anyway, this one's going to be straightened. If you liked the video, if you did, click like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.